for
coming
shop.
through.
Yeah.
It's been 1 week since grand opening, so we wanted to get together and just talk briefly about what that was and how we feel. I know I feel good.
Busy night, crazy night. I was telling you after the fact, me and Jen were standing back in the service department. We were looking out onto the shop floor here. It was probably a solid 3 hours of like not having any open floor space in the shop, which was amazing to see that many people come out to an opening night. And then you step out into the hallway, and there's even more people out there just hanging out and congregating, and it was awesome. We had live music, which is great.
Yeah, somebody just told me the other day that it felt like a Irish pub. They'd been to Ireland and they almost were hoping to hear the next Irish pub song that they loved. So that made my day hearing that. Oh, that was Julia from Tomorrow Bookstore told me that.
Well, now we know how the theme for the next party, I guess.
Yeah, seriously.
Irish pub.
Yeah, that was the Reno's Music crew of customers and owner of Reno's up there in Fishers. They're the place you go to buy a really sick acoustic guitar. Best in town.
So the guys over here playing in the corner.
Yeah, the long hair guy with glasses, Mark, owns Reno's. He's a dude about my age, another dad. He's just a beautiful soul, and he didn't flinch when I asked him to get his crew down here and play. He didn't know what he was coming into at all.
Right.
A lot of those guys are really self-conscious because they never even played in front of people before. Because there was, I don't know if you got to enjoy any of it, but there was old heads that could just really rip to kind of newer players that just strum along,
Yeah, I mean, it sounded amazing. They did great. I wish I could have enjoyed opening night a little more. It was really a double-edged sword. It's so great to see that many people out here enjoying the space and having a great time. But then being on the side of running the shop and take care of all those things, you're kind of running around like a chicken with your head cut off a little bit, trying to make sure everyone's taken care of, everyone's having a good time and enjoying themselves. So
yeah,
it was good.
It felt more like a wedding or something to me than a shop opening. I completely wasn't even worried about business. And luckily, my 10-year-old Miles is running the cash register. I didn't even have to really. I think my wife was kind of watching over him, but he did really well. My son Julian, the 6-year-old, was running around giving away raffle tickets to everybody. And then, of course, you and Jen were taking care of the service department, which people warned me there might be bikes rolling in grand opening night, and I kind of was like, whatever, no way. People are going to bring their bikes in Saturday night. Lo and behold, got a full handful of them back there.
We got a full service department that night.
Having to clear the crowd to roll bikes through. That was beautiful. And then, thank you and Jen so much for getting some people in and out the door that night, service-wise, making us look good. So yeah, feel blessed. I knew people would show up, but I didn't know that many people would show up. Because usually, maybe a third of the people who might have thought they'd come actually come.
Yeah, no, I've been in the industry a long time, quite a bit now, and I've seen a lot of grand openings of bike shops. I've seen a lot of birthday parties for bike shops. I've seen a lot of just open houses, and I don't think I've ever been in one that busy and that exciting. It's great.
Oh man,
yeah,
that makes me
Jen
feel
was
good.
saying the exact same thing. Yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah.
Put on quite the party.
Yeah, we're surfing this community wave right now, man. That's what it is. And really grateful that everybody showed up and found the place and continues to find the place. There's people who haven't been here yet that are just followers on social media, and I really need to make it easier to find the shop for people in the general public. But people are coming in even this week, despite the snow, bringing in bikes. So people are asking me how it's going, and I'm just telling them I'm really feeling the community support just from the people who are obviously following, because that's all who's coming in are followers that know me from social media and things like that. It's nobody who's just found me because they noticed me, because I'm hidden in here, and it's nobody who's found me really off Google Maps yet. Nobody said that. So it's only social media customers, and I can only hope it'll get better when we have just more organic traffic coming into the building for Daisy Bar and the Tokyo Ramen and all that stuff. So.
Yeah, and it's looking great so far. Just from what I'm seeing on social media, from what I'm seeing when I'm popping in and out of the shop here when I can, because busy guy, and it's hard for me to always get down here, but I love it when I can get down here. It's a great time.
Yeah, for sure, man. So yeah, Thanks again. What else we got?
Yeah, we talked about the good sides of the grand opening. Now, what are the things that are freaking you out, that are still freaking you out, I guess?
Just having a shop space to use for the first time. I know it's like set up for now, but not knowing how to optimize it for the repair shop, because I'm feeling that community interest we were just talking about, and I'm trying to visualize come spring when the repair business picks up more, and I'm stressed about the storage of bicycles in my small space. So I know it can be done. It's been pointed out there's a lot of smaller shops in this even that thrive. So I just need to start thinking of how I can most strategically optimize my vertical space in here for the repair storage. So that's just one of my personal stressors, because I really care about quality, and I don't want to be banging people's bikes up and dropping bikes and things like that. So
it's one of the hardest things to negotiate in the bike shop is getting the most amount of bikes in both service and floor or sales space, while giving the best amount of care for them, right? You don't want to just have bikes stacked on top of each other and kind of move six. You don't want to have to be moving 6 bikes to get to the one bike you want to work on or need to work on. You don't want to pull a bike and then drop the bike and kick a handlebar into the top tube, and now you got a big old scuff.
Yeah.
That's the call you want to make to the customer. Like, hey man, I'm really sorry. I put a scratch on your bike. I've been there. It sucks.
Yeah.
It's never my goal to see that.
I learned a lifelong lesson on my own bike. Yeah, so luckily a bike I damaged pretty good was my own, and it was my favorite bike that I built up at Rivendell. So I feel like every new bike you get, you need to kick it over, drop it, wreck it, just to break it in so you can stop worrying about that perfect, pristine showroom quality that it has, initially. So definitely did that to my Rivendell.
All of my bikes look beautiful from 10, 15 feet, but you get up close on them and they got some love scratches in them.
Yeah.
They've definitely been beat.
Yeah. To love a bike is to ride it.
Yeah, exactly. So you gotta. It's one of those things like you play hard, or work hard, play hard kind of deals. With the bike, you ride it hard, but you also gotta take care of it hard and make sure you put the maintenance into it. But a well-loved bike is a well-used bike.
Oh yeah. I'm actually impressed by the amount of use some of these bikes get that are coming in the door. I thought, I always thought I could take better care of some of my personal bikes, just from a cleanliness and just keeping up with them all the time standpoint. But not everybody even touches their bike ever. It's pretty cool.
It's an important reason why we're here, man. It's like I said, I've done the service repair thing, and I've seen a lot of bikes, and there's not to narrow it down to super narrow lanes, but there's 2 really common kinds of customers that I see. I see the customers that absolutely love and care for their bikes to immaculate detail. I see customers who they're using that bike every day and they're relying on it for transportation, and so that means sometimes it's not that they don't love their bike, but because of the need for it, some of that maintenance goes by the wayside for a little bit. So they're not always the cleanest or the most
Yeah, I've been there.
polished bike.
I've been there. Maybe you don't even have heat in your garage, and you park your frozen commuter bike in your garage, and it doesn't really even melt
off.
Yeah, it gets really hard, and you're not gonna bring that stuff inside and let that black gunk all over your kitchen floor to clean up your bike. So I get it. I've been there.
And with the winter salt, it's really just bad for your bike. It's corrosive. So even if it's just making sure you're spraying it down or giving it a quick wipe down,
Yeah.
in between the winter months, just to keep some of that corrosion from really building up.
I feel like we should offer a winter parts clean special. Just drop the cassette chain.
Bike car wash.
Yeah, just do that real quick. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, the chain's a big part of it, but it's more than just like, getting that chain. It's just like where that stuff starts to build and accumulate on the actual frame too. It's like,
Yeah.
like you don't notice it, but like all of the little creases and crevices in between the welds and the top tubes, like they'll start to pack up with salt, and that's an easy point for whether it's aluminum, whether it's steel, that's an easy point for rust or oxidation.
Yeah.
Which is very important. And it eats at your paint, eats at your coat.
Yeah.
Being good about, like I said, I try to keep a bucket, wet bucket, or keep wet rag in a bucket, just give it a quick wipe down when I can, just to
That's good.
minimize some of that corrosion. It's important.
Yeah, and some people have been asking about like the repaint option I'm advertising on the website, and that's when it's really called for. Is after a few winters of neglect, you'll start to see those little pitted spots around the welds, around the bosses, and just have it sandblasted fresh to the steel. Pick your paint color out of the auto Rolodex of colors. I got the Kia book when I went to pick my color, so my Surly Ogre I had painted was a 2014 Kia custom color.
And there's a lot of great options out there for repaints too. Like you've seen some of my pretty bikes that I have rolling out.
Yeah.
And pretty paint jobs come with a pretty price tag, but
Yeah.
it's definitely worth it, especially it's something you ride a lot and you want to have take care of. Get them repainted every now and then.
It wasn't until I had the custom paint job, until like when people said nice bike, like I really knew it. Like something about having your own custom paint on your bike, and then if you're a geek like us, like put all your own parts on it and stuff, like then it's your bike for sure.
And it's got to be one of the crazy things to me that like how recognizable some of my bikes are. Like that pink bike is, known across the pond from a couple in some of the fixed gear communities. I have a buddy who's out in London who was one day just Googling custom built steel frames, custom built USA steel frames, and stumbled upon Gene, stumbled upon Spicer. Same guy that built my frames, and just fell in love with them, and eventually did the back and forth, got a bike built and shipped overseas there, and then a partner of his also did the same thing, and at this point I had gotten my bike completely repainted already, and it had been out on the internet and floating around for a while, and they fell in love with that color scheme, and they actually reached out and asked how I felt, essentially asked permission or asked if I would, how they felt if they flipped the paint scheme. So my Spicer is black to pink fade towards the back. They did it pink fade to black in front, and I'll try to find a picture and send it to you so you can post it on Instagram or the story. It's kind of cool, and that's a bike that exists overseas in London.
Oh, nice.
Europe somewhere.
How many did they do that way?
Just one.
Just one. Okay.
There's two. And I think a couple people have done some black and pinky jobs with that. There weren't a whole lot of them really floating around.
Yo, speaking of you being a trendsetter, I feel like now's the time to say, since you're wearing the Mauricio hoodie at the moment, we've gotten so many requests for the Mauricio hoodie here. Calling it the Mauricio hoodie. He's made it famous.
That's great.
Vivas Supply up on Bedford Boulevard, Indianapolis. They're making us a ton of them, and we're also trying a new color nobody's ever seen before, just standard black. I think that'll be a really cool hoodie too. Like a lot of people just want a black hoodie, so doing black and the heathered Loganberry here. So yeah, man. That I also wanted to tell you and everybody what Jim and I have been talking about. Jim Arnott.
Yeah.
Arnaud. Sorry, Jim. We've been talking about, first of all, hosting a info session on a bike packing trip for this year. Yes. So we're definitely doing one.
I'm listening.
Yeah, bring that coffee pot over here if you will. And I'm going to move the camera a little closer. I'm afraid that the Movement House jam session next door is going to complicate our volume here, which is all right. We love movement
We're
house.
not talking loud enough to.
Yeah, if you're wondering what the audio in the background is, the movement house next door, great neighbors. They're running a killer Pilates business, and they mix it up with not only Pilates but other kind of aerobics and fitness and yoga classes, and just a lot of people in there all the time, and there's a lot of excitement around that. So of course we're excited to share the space with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jim and I have been talking about a bike packing info session. We're trying to first just gauge like what the interest is. We know there is some interest, but like how big of a group will this turn out to be is what we're trying to figure out. And like when do people, we're kind of going to throw a few dates out and see like when the majority want to commit, like what date. So that's what we're going to do. We thought we might do a coffee outside on like a 40, 50 degree morning or something. And
I'll bring my wood burner.
yeah, we'll kind of play nature that morning and play with our stoves and our mobile coffee kits and bring an AeroPress out, do the thing, and talk about bike packing. But we basically just decided why not just drive the hour south, park in Bloomington at a predetermined spot, start off on the beeline right at Blooming Foods where we'll stock up on some hippie groceries and then make our way into the woods for the Brown County Delight Route.
Nice.
The first day of that will be woods and off-road, a little bit of pavement, and a little bit of Sufferfest on some of those patented hills and gravel and the Tecumseh Trail into Brown County State Park, where we'll camp the night. And then the next day of that ride is like mostly pavement. I've only done the first half and bailed and rode all the way back to Indy, but it sounds like it's mostly roads into the Yellowwood State Forest area on the second day, and then ride back to where we started and wave goodbye and drive back to Indy.
Heck yeah. Well, it's exciting. I got some bike figuring out to do because I haven't shared it publicly yet, but I guess this is where I'm sharing it publicly. My touring rig, I found a crack in it. So it's a good steel frame. It'll get shipped out and repaired, but not something I've shared publicly detailed wise yet.
I was just gonna say I can get you a long haul trucker, dude. Like,
I'm not gonna tell the whole story here. I had an old teacher that used to tell me I was gonna. He rode his bike. He told me I was gonna get old one day and ride a long haul trucker. So I pretty much swore to them to ride a long haul trucker.
oh, I got it.
They're great bikes, but it's just not my style.
I'm gonna have one like painted sick and like slap some other label on it. Like, here's this bike, Mauricio, check it out.
Yeah,
you're gonna be a trucker fan from now on.
That's amazing. That's great.
But yeah, really excited about that. We're not trying to be like a mountain bike bike shop by any means, but one of my longtime interests is bike packing specifically, and I'm down to try to get some city folks into that. So yeah, like we'll start the discussion then on like gear, as far as I'm sure a lot of the interested folks will have done some backpacking before, and that's a really good translatable hobby where a lot of the same gear works for bike packing. Usually the shelter system is the change up, that kind of difficult part of it. Either you do a hammock rig, which isn't the greatest, or you just bite the bullet and get a little 1-person or 2-person backpacking tent that hopefully doesn't have too long of poles. That's the key with the gear there. And then of course is how to carry it. And that's another thing Jim and I talked about. We're not gonna like really just harp on the bike packing part of it. It's gonna be a mixed touring group, just because like bike packing is kind of moving into the touring realm. People are starting to run panniers on the off-roading side of things. So,
and it's kind of nice having the versatility. Like I love both bike packing and bike touring, and I've done kind of a mixture of both. And you know, I did this, gap, which is kind of a little bit of both. It's a little bit of off-road because you're on that gravel, and depending on the time of year you go, it gets a little rough, especially along the CNO, so it definitely feels like you're doing some of that kind of more adventurous single track in a way.
yeah.
When you're able to do some of that. It's amazing out there. If you've not been out to CNO, you definitely
Yeah. That's like one of those trips I could see us doing, a group shop ride on destination out there.
The clients have done that with a handful of the people before.
I never did it, and I've always wanted to, so it'll be great.
It's great. I think I ripped it in 5 days from from East Coast to West.
Gotcha.
From East to West. So I did what some would say would be the hard route because I think a lot of people say that going from DC to Pittsburgh is the harder route because you have one of your days you're gonna hate it because you have a 25-mile straight climb up the mountain essentially.
Yeah.
Which I just got up that morning and just went like it was nothing. So.
Just do what you can, as long as you can. Right?
Turn the music and go.
Yeah, I'm good with that kind of stuff. I like those kind of challenges. And then I have one more thing I wanted to share. You might have saw I posted yesterday about the Trip Talks, Tales from the Trails. Shamelessly just ripping off Stoke Spoke out of Seattle. They use the winter time as a time to do in-house events like that, off the bike, talking about bikes, to get the community together when the community normally isn't seeing much of each other during the winter, and to inspire, future rides ahead. So there's a handful of people that come to mind that I know have just taken like really cool trips in the last year, like Brad Whitehurst, for example. Didn't he go to was it Middle East or did he go to Africa?
Morocco, I think. He went to Morocco to maybe Portugal?
Yeah, so
something crazy. He did an insane trip.
He's a pretty quiet dude, but I would love if he would get up here and just talk for 15 minutes about that. Do like a slideshow on a projector, maybe show us like a zoom out of the route he took. And for me, it would just be hearing the process of how he went about it that I would really be interested in, because maybe I won't go to Morocco, but go somewhere crazy and use some of the same tips and tricks to go somewhere.
That's one of the beauties about people like me and Brad. I don't in my case when I did see a no gap, I was kind of that year had kind of kicked my ass a little bit, and I just kind of needed not necessarily to run away, but a little bit of a reset and to kind of reorientate myself and what I was doing and how I was feeling. And so some time on the bike was needed, and so I was kind of just from the day that it popped in my head that maybe I just take off and go do a quick bike trip, to being on the train or on the trail going out there was 2 weeks.
Oh wow.
I planned it in a 2-week period. I just kind of took some of the money I had in my savings and just kind of bought my train ticket and went out and did it. Came back and figured out what I was doing back home after the fact, and helped me kind of figure out where I was going from there.
Was that what Brad did too, kind of last minute, or?
I think he probably had a little more planning in it, but I think he was just kind of, he definitely just, thought about doing it and then
went for it.
I don't think he I don't know that, not sure that he probably, I haven't talked to him too much, but I'm sure knowing Brad, he kind of just was in it for the adventure and to just go do it. He's I'm just gonna go ride my bike.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's how Brad is, I think. So I'd love to really, like I said, I'd really love to hear.
Yeah, him, John Franklin Hay, he did at least one trip this year. And it's I feel like anybody who did even if it were a semi-local trip, if they did the Brown County Delight, that'd be worth talking about. My trip on doing half of it was amazing. I saw a huge rattlesnake for the first time in that area, and then, just being alone is cool. I would encourage people that do it solo trips. You learn a lot.
So for people who've never been to Brown County Delight, I guess tell us what we should expect on something like that, terrain-wise.
Yeah, so I really ruminated over it for a while before I did it and made the decision to ride down to the route loaded on my mountain bike, just because I didn't want a car and parking a car involved at all. It just took the fun out of it. So I thought it was more an adventure to try to ride down there to the route. The ride down there was so great. Once you get out of Indianapolis and into the flat cornfields and into the rolling hills down there, it's just so wonderful. And then once you get to Bloomington, the excitement has just kept building up to that point, because you're getting closer and closer to civilization, and then finally you're in Bloomington, this kind of college town that feels like a cultural center. Having ridden down there, Bloomington felt like a reward for the work of getting down there. Cool coffee houses, the hippie grocery store, Blooming Foods is my favorite thing. So I loaded up with the intent to like have food from Blooming Foods to carry me all the way through my stay at Brown County State Park, so I wouldn't need like any more stops, you know. So the trip from Bloomington, then like all the way down, kind of touch the top of Lake Monroe, and then meander to the Tecumseh Trail, which then takes you through the back of Brown County State Park, and you get spit out like right in the campgrounds. That was just awesome. I'm a big fan of Brown County State Park. I've ridden a lot there, but I'd never ridden the trail that brought me into there, so that was cool to kind of see a different side of the park that I'd never seen, yet I'd always wanted to ride in like that from the back. And then to camp there was cool. Because I'd ridden all the way down there, I felt a little more vulnerable and didn't want to have to call my wife like for rescue, so I made the hard decision not to rip the mountain bike trails you know, while I was staying there, because I did make a camp and I could have went and rode the mountain bike trails, but I think I only had sandals too. I didn't even have shoes. I just like to tour in like Chacos.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
No clipless, huh?
No clipless at all. Chacos are awesome.
I don't know if it's just because I've ridden so long on clipless, but like it's if I'm bike touring, if I'm mountain biking, if I'm commuting around the city, it has to be clipless. Like yeah, I just have that. It's a comfort thing for me to feel more comfortable. I'm able to just pedal better.
I got you. Nice.
I don't know. Riding in sandals feels. It's kind of one of those like I don't know that I could get the feel for it.
Yeah. Now I'm like second guessing. Did I actually wear sandals? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I wasn't. It sounds crazy now that thinking back to it. I didn't even think about it, but yeah, I was like riding single track loaded in Chacos. But admittedly, the single track is not like the single track that the groom stuff you ride in the parks, whether Brown County or Fort Bend. The single track that you ride like on that part of the tour is more of just like backcountry.
Would you say more like Coombs Road, where it's kind of fire road,
exactly,
like
those horse trail
road
type stuff, where it wasn't made with bike fun and flow in mind. You're just out there chugging. You know?
Well, I don't know. If you ask, depending on on conditions of the day, on the trail conditions, like I have a lot of fun ripping Coombs.
Combs is cool. I call Combs good.
I did watch a guy during one of our shop rides completely crack a rim on it, and
yeah,
you know, a couple miles out from the truck, which was insane to just hear the kook and then the rollover of it.
Yeah. I haven't ridden Combs Road and Nebo in too long, so like I'm primed to try to get a group to ride down there and do that for sure.
We just gotta be a little quiet about it because you gotta have the permits and everything.
Oh yeah, the permits.
Yeah, they're real big about their permits down there. So we're gonna get our permits together and then we're gonna go ride it.
It's not too bad. Like a lot of the gas stations down there and selling and everything. So. Well, trying to think what else we got going on. If you guys have any stories from trips last year that you did in 2024, whether it was an Indiana tour, I'm trying to get Kyle Hodges to talk about his covered bridge rides. He's like really tying together these awesome routes with elevation and just cool bike routes that are trying to tie together covered bridges. I'm hoping to get him to speak on our Trail Talks thing, because what he's working on seems like something that could be a future club of its own, like, you know, that kind of riding out in the country and distance kind of stuff.
It's a beautiful ride out there, doing a lot of those covered bridges out there.
Yeah.
Some time ago, a group of us, me, Jim, and I think Steph was with us then.
Oh, cool.
She was still here in town. We all kind of went down there one day on a weekend and did a century loop down there with a lot of the covered bridges.
Nice. Yeah.
It was just a fun time riding.
Yeah. Just really excited for what's to come, man.
Yeah,
like
no,
the sky's the limit for what we try to do out of here. And the community events, the first Fridays, the rides out of here. It's like, what do we do? It's fun. So.
All right. So, what's the service department looking like for the week or the day today for us here?
Yeah, I feel like I've always got stuff to do. There's bikes that I've had for months now that I've been wanting to like get fixed up out on the floor. So like, if I actually had a free moment, I'd love to get to those. But first and foremost, priority is just getting the customer bikes out. I feel like this week, despite the weather, has been awesome. Just seeing a lot of new faces in here. A lot of the same people that came for grand opening came back to drop a bike off. So I just feel so grateful for the community. I really feel the love, and I am ready for it. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, I think it's about time we get
Yeah,
get to
get our
wrenching on
hands
it
dirty.
before people start walking in for the day.
For sure, man. Thank you. Cheers.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Until next time, y'all.